Open up YouTube right now, type the word Thailand into the search bar and tell me, what do you see? You see a flood of hyper-saturated thumbnails, endless turquoise oceans, golden temples glowing under perfect sunsets, smiling street food vendors handing over 50 baht bowls of noodles, and beautifully edited cinematic montages of digital nomads working from luxury rooftop pools. Every video sells a variation of the exact same message. This place is an absolute utopia. It's perfect. So leave your boring life behind and come join the paradise. It is an incredibly powerful, intoxicating fantasy, and millions of people eat it up every single day. But as someone who has spent 10 years with actual boots on the ground, navigating the actual reality of life in Southeast Asia, I'm going to tell you a secret that every major travel vlogger and expat creator knows, but is terrified to say out loud. The Thailand you see on YouTube is a curated corporate lie. So, welcome back to Thai Talk with Dan Unleashed. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the content creator's trap. We aren't just talking about why people filter their photos. We are talking about the hidden structural machinery behind the content ecosystem. We are diving into why creators are forced to lie to you, the terrifying legal traps that keep them from telling the truth, and how the YouTube algorithm actively punishes authenticity while rewarding a toxic artificial fantasy. So, if you want to understand the massive yawning chasm between the Thailand on your screen and the Thailand on the street, let's get into the raw facts. So let's start with the most dangerous element of the trap. The primary reason you don't hear creators talk about the dark side of Thailand isn't because they don't see it. It's because doing so can literally land them in a high security prison or wipe out their life savings in a local courtroom. In the West, we have an ingrained, almost careless belief in freedom of speech. If you go to a restaurant in London, get terrible service and eat food that gives you food poisoning, you go straight onto Google Reviews or TripAdvisor and rip them to shreds. If a landlord scams you out of a deposit in New York, you blast them on social media. And the law protects you because what you are saying is factually true, and truth is your ultimate legal shield. In Thailand, the legal system operates on an entirely different planet. Thailand possesses some of the strictest, most punitive criminal defamation laws on the face of the earth, and they are governed heavily by sections 326 through 328 of the Penal Code. And here is a psychological mind meld for a Westerner. Under Thai law, the truth is not an absolute defense. So let that sink in for just a second. If a content creator films a video exposing a specific visa agency that's stolen their money, or a crooked landlord who locked them out of their apartment, or a restaurant that scammed them, it does not matter if the creator has video proof, receipts and bank statements. The moment that they publish that content online and name the business, they have committed a crime. So, why is that? Because the legal definition of defamation here focuses primarily on whether you have damaged someone's reputation or caused them to lose face in society. If you damage their reputation publicly, you are criminally liable. Each count carries up to a 2-year prison sentence and massive fines. Now, combine that with the Computer Crimes Act, CCA, which penalises putting false or distorted information into a computer system. And the system becomes a weapon of choice for the powerful, High-profile politicians, developers, and shady businessmen routinely slap journalists and content creators with what are called slaps, strategic lawsuits against public participation. Now the process itself becomes the punishment. You are tied up in local courts for years, your passport can be confiscated, and your legal fees mount up into the hundreds of thousands of baht. So, if you are an expat YouTuber making a living from your laptop, what do? Do you decide to film a raw, honest, investigative piece about the dark underbelly of the local rental market or a corrupted local official? Absolutely not. You shut your mouth. You point your camera away from the garbage, you give a big smile, and you film another video about the top 5 night markets in Chiang Mai. Fear breeds silence, and silence breeds the illusion of a perfect paradise. Now, let's look past the legal cage and talk about the digital economy. Let's talk about the algorithm. YouTube is a business. And like any entertainment platform, its primary metric is retention and viewer satisfaction. The algorithm feeds on consumer desire. And what does a viewer sitting in a grey, freezing office in the middle of winter in Europe or North America actually want to buy? They don't want a gritty documentary about urban poverty in Bangkok, the extreme inflation squeezing local families, or the logistical nightmare of dealing with immigration tracking offices every few months. They are looking for escapism. They want a digital hit of dopamine. They want to look at a video and think, if I just quit my job, everything would be perfect over there. Now the algorithm recognizes this immediately. Videos that feature beautiful aesthetics, upbeat lo-fi background music, hyper-enthusiastic personalities, and endless praise for the country pull massive click-through rates and high watch time. So then the algorithm takes those videos and pushes them to millions of screens. Conversely, if a creator posts a video titled "The Mental Health Crisis of Being an Expat in Thailand" or "The Harsh Reality of Local Inflation," the tone shifts to negative. Viewers will click away faster, the engagement metrics drop, and the algorithm buries their video deep in the digital graveyard. Now, this creates a brutal financial feedback loop for creators. If you tell the truth, your views drop, your AdSense revenue plummets, and your channel starves. But if you sell the glossy, artificial fantasy, your views skyrocket. The sponsorship deals from luxury hotels and VPN companies roll on in, and your bank account grows. So over time, creators undergo a form of professional mutation. They stop being observers of reality and become marketing agents for an idealized concept of a country. They become completely dependent on the very illusion they are manufacturing. They can't afford to stop smiling because the moment the smile drops, their income drops with it. Now, there is also a massive structural difference based on who is making the content. A huge percentage of the high-traffic travel content about Thailand is produced by transient creators. These are the digital nomads or travel couple vloggers who spend 3 weeks, maybe 3 months in the country. They stay in nice condos, hang out exclusively in tourist hotspots or trendy cafes, and live entirely on Western capital. And when you live on a strong Western currency and you treat a country like an extended holiday resort, your experience is fantastic. You don't have to deal with the actual fabric of society. You aren't trying to build a corporate entity under local regulations. You aren't trying to navigate the complex family dynamics of the face economy. You aren't paying local taxes, and you don't have to face the terrifying prospect of aging in a system with no public safety net for foreigners. These transient creators film their content during their personal honeymoon phase. They pack up, leave, and upload a beautiful piece of cinematic art. Then, the viewer back home watches that video and uses it as a blueprint for permanent relocation. They arrive on the ground expecting the 3-week vacation lifestyle to translate perfectly into a 10-year residency. Bonkers. But when the honeymoon phase dies, and it always does, the reality sets on in. The bureaucracy stops being a quirky adventure and becomes an exhausting, unpredictable hurdle. The language barrier stops being funny and becomes isolating. The realization that you are permanently categorized as a guest who can be reassessed at any moment by a policy shift starts to weigh heavily on your psychological health. But you definitely won't see that transition documented on the major channels. The creators who hit the 3-year expat wall and quietly pack their bags to go home usually don't make a grand finale video explaining how the reality broke them. They just simply stop uploading, disappear from the algorithms, and leave the space open for the next wave of wide-eyed creators to land at Savannahpoom Airport and restart the exact same cycle of toxic positivity. Now, the final, most tragic element of this trap is what it does to the creators internally. When you spend your life scripting, filming, and editing a curated version of reality, a form of cognitive dissonance sets in. You start to struggle to separate your actual lived experience from the character you are playing on camera. So imagine living in an area where you see local businesses struggling under changing economic tides, or you personally experience the deep anxiety of an unpredictable visa renewal process. But every afternoon you have to turn on your ring light, put a high energy grin on your face, and tell 50,000 subscribers that life has never been better. It creates a profound sense of creative and personal isolation. You can't vent to your audience because of the legal risks and the algorithmic penalties. You can't vent to the local community because of the strict social codes around keeping things harmonious and saving face. You are stuck inside your own matrix, financing a lifestyle by selling a dream that you secretly know has major structural cracks. And this is exactly why an unleashed format is so vital. The internet is reaching a tipping point of saturation with glossy, corporate travel brochure content. Audiences are smarter than the algorithms give them credit for, and people can sense when they are being sold a pristine, heavily filtered corporate product, and they are becoming desperate for a grounded, real-world perspective. What is the ultimate lesson here? Am I telling you that Thailand is a terrible place full of hidden traps? No, not at all. Thailand is a phenomenal country. The culture is deep. The people have a level of resilience and warmth that is incredibly rare. And the geographical beauty is entirely real. It is a fantastic place to build a life if you deal with it as it actually is. The danger doesn't lie in Thailand itself. The danger lies in the illusion created by the creator ecosystem. So if you are planning to move your life across the world, you cannot use YouTube as your primary research tool. You have to understand that every piece of video content that you consume is operating within a complex cage of strict local legal boundaries, corporate sponsorship demands, and algorithmic manipulation. So, look past the lo-fi music, look past the perfectly color-graded drone shots, Talk to people who have been on the ground for a decade or more. Prepare yourself financially and mentally for the unedited, gritty reality of living as a permanent guest in a foreign state. Enjoy the paradise on your screen, but build your life on the solid ground of reality. So, let me know what you think down in the comments. Have you noticed the massive shift between travel vlogger videos and the actual reality of living abroad? Let's break it down below. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you're sick of the glossy corporate matrix and want the unfiltered truth. This is Dan Unleashed, and I'll see you in the next video.